I'm the chairperson of the Women's Coalition of Zimbabwe. Morning, everyone. My name is Fadzai Trakino from Women in Law in Southern Africa Trust.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Edna Masiwa. I'm from the Women's Action Group, and also I'm the cluster lead for the health cluster under the Women's Coalition.
Good morning. My name is Dorothy Wove with Zimbabwe Women's Resource Center and Network, and I'm representing the economic cluster lead.
Thank you very much. I'll take you straight to the reading of the statement from Women's Coalition of Zimbabwe from our chairperson, Ms. Ronica Mumbere. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. The Women's Coalition of Zimbabwe, representing a non-partisan women's rights organizations and activists in all 10 provinces of Zimbabwe, wishes to join the rest of Zimbabwe in congratulating His Excellency Emmerson Mnangagwa on his election and inauguration as the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe. WICOS acknowledges and take cognizance of the commitments that His Excellency made in his speech during his inauguration, which includes the need for Zimbabwe's renewal in all socio-economic sectors, to position our country in readiness for economic growth, industrialization, modernization and mechanization, employment creation, democracy, delivery of efficient and quality social services and equality important, the advancement and empowerment of women and youth and the disabled. We urge His Excellency and his administration to ensure women's rights are at the center in the implementation of these commitments. Of critical importance is ensuring that gender-sensitive and gender-responsive structures are strengthened and adequately resourced. Therefore, as Women's Coalition, we call upon the President to appoint a gender-balanced executive, to appoint women in portfolios of health, finance, education, foreign affairs, defense ministries, to which men have been perennially appointed. Extend women quotas beyond 2023, and this to be applicable to local government as well. Ensure the state puts in place incentive and punitive measures through the review of the Political Parties Finance Act to political parties that fail the 50% gender representation. Ensure full domestication of the United Nations Conventions of the Rights of Persons with Disabilities underpinned by women's rights. Allocate 15% of the total 2018 budget to the health sector in line with the Abuja Declaration and a return to the prioritization of the primary health care model in Zimbabwe. Implement laws that significantly improve the state's response to eradicating gender-based violence. We want marriage law reform to be accelerated, in particular the finalization of the women's bill, the marriage bill, which will put to rest the contradiction of the age of consent to marriage and set it to 18 years. We also need implementation of laws ensuring the procurement of offenders that are marrying young girls. To take all measures to end violence against women in public and private spaces, and further ensure that women are represented in the independent commission investigating cases of political violence that occurred on the 1st of August 2018. To demonstrate the respect of the right to freedom of expression by the removal of the laws that erode these rights, including IPA and POSA, whilst ensuring that hate speech is not tolerated and that public political affairs are promoting women's voices, dignity, and influence to positively shape public opinion. Ensure that all laws that relate to allocation of land, such as the Rural Land Act, Agricultural Land Resettlement Act, and Land Acquisition Act have gender equality provisions and reserved quotas. Also ensure that statutory Instrument 53 of 2014 of Land is made into an Act of Parliament to ensure women have land rights upon divorce and death of the permit holder. Ensure that the Zimbabwe Open for Business mantra is gender inclusive. Government to commit to improving quality and quantity of care-related infrastructure and services that is well targeted at those doing substantial UCW, e.g., water supply, community health services, electricity supply. Government should also dedicate adequate resources to achieve this. We therefore expect that the Office of the President, all duty bearers with a mandate to advance women's rights and gender equality will be alive to demands we have expressed in this statement. I thank you.
Thank you. We have come to the end of the reading of our statement. Now we are taking questions which the panel will also respond in case some of our members from the press have questions. So any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Okay. My question is, we are about to see a new cabinet. As Women Coalition, what's your take on deputy ministers, and maybe deputy ministers being women? What's your take on that?
Thank you. Any other question? Yes, sir.
Is it not too late to try and petition the president to look at the gender balance in the presidium?
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And also, I think maybe as women organizations, you guys have made so much noise about the inclusion of women, but it has been going around on social media that are there specific women that you feel actually deserve this job, because this is not just for putting women, but people who can actually do it. So maybe do you have maybe specific names of women you feel that they should be included in the cabinet?
Thank you. I'll hand over to the panel to respond through the chair as well.
Okay, in response to your questions, starting with the last question, the Women's Coalition, including the Ministry of Women Affairs and other various institutions that are working on women's rights, I remember even ProWeb, we did establish a database of various competencies that the women of Zimbabwe have across different sectors. So that database is available to government and to the Presidium to make use of it in order to appoint women. One of the other beauties of our constitution is that the president has rights to actually appoint 5 people out of expertise. And we would actually urge that for those special allocations to ministries or to the cabinet, those 5 seats can actually come from women of various expertise. We have women engineers, we have women lawyers, we have women in the health sector, we have women in mining, we have women in the financial sector. So from our list of demands, we do strongly feel that that database can actually be made use of to actually appoint women into the cabinet. Then your second question was around deputy ministers. Whilst we strongly urge government to focus on a leaner cabinet, we do feel that there is space for women to actually occupy ministerial seats which are not deputy minister seats. So in the event that there is appointment of women to seats, we really strongly urge that those women that will occupy cabinet seats are actually appointed as ministers, not necessarily taking a lower position in cabinet.
Any other member to respond? Also to add, Women's Coalition of Zimbabwe engaged with the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, and this is not new, the submissions. Upon him taking office in November, the same submissions were also tabled, and there was a letter delivered to the office of His Excellency. So our submissions have been continuous. We submitted when we also made written submissions to the office in November. We also convened a meeting which we engaged with the President of Zimbabwe, and the same requests and demands and asks were also presented with him as we interacted with him. We had a follow-up submission also of the same requests, which we made submissions last year to his office. So this would be the fourth of the many times that we are making these submissions. So it's not too late, but we are now awaiting the responsiveness of His Excellency to ensure that he respects the provisions of the Constitution and that he also prioritizes more than 50% of the population. Any other questions? Can I assume that there are no more questions? By silence and nodding, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We have come to the end of our press conference. You are free to interact with the panel as you consolidate for media personnel that are here and the journalists that are here, and also enjoy the refreshments that we have also put in for you to enjoy. Thank you very much. So the printed version of the statement is available through Bridget and the team. They'll give you, yes. And then for those that will require it electronically, you also be required to give us your email.